Hey guys, welcome to our Monday night Empower call. And we are going to be, today's call is going to be stories, solutions, and strategies. And there's going to be three of us sharing tonight. And we're going to kick off by hearing from Meagan. She's going to share her health testimony, and then we'll do some product training and then some business training. So I'm going to pass this over to Meagan and allow her to share her health story.
Hey, you guys, I'm super excited to share my story with you tonight. Little over 2 years on these products, and I swear it just keeps getting better and better. There's always more wins that keep coming with this, and literally couldn't be more excited that I finally stopped being so dang skeptical and ordered that triplex combo a little over 2 years ago. So you guys, before Plexus, like it was bad. To literally wake up every day and not have any kind of motivation. I didn't want to do anything, and it was really frustrating, and I didn't know how to dig myself out of that hole because I had been in it for so long. I'm really good at putting on like a happy face, so no one around me would have known how bad I was struggling. I just kept it, inside me. But it was really hard for a long time. The fatigue was intense. Literally, like, Post Malone, like, could have gotten tattooed "always tired" on my face. Like, that's literally how I felt all the time, and it made me a really, like, grumpy human being. I feel like the only people that were able to, like, truly make me happy, and, like, this is no offense to anyone in my family, Shasta, were my nieces. Like, they brought me a whole lot of joy, and that was, like, my favorite times in that time of my life. Y'all, I couldn't be like, I had to be around a bathroom all of the time. Um, Road trips were very frustrating between Zach and I because it was literally like I had to have a bathroom close. And if there wasn't one, like, I literally mapped out bathrooms whenever we took a road trip just to make sure like there was always one at least somewhat close, because I was having to run to the bathroom. Anytime I ate anything, I had to run to the bathroom. My digestion was just off the rocker. And what really was bad was my nutrition was terrible. And it was because my glucose was just on a roller coaster, literally 24/7. And the things that I was craving, it wasn't anything super nutritious. It was things that were making me feel even worse. And I couldn't like get that under control. It made me not like, I didn't want to eat healthy because those things, like, I didn't want that. And it was really hard, especially being someone who is so into fitness. I was still consistently going to the gym because that did make me feel better. Like, exercise released those endorphins and gave me that little boost of like happiness for a while. But, it didn't last very long. And so I was constantly, because I was tired, I was constantly on energy drinks, which, if you guys have ever had an addiction to energy drinks, they give you this burst of energy, and within an hour or two, like, you are completely crashed and don't want to do anything. And then you feel like you need another one. And it's just like a spiral effect, and it's hard to get out of because you literally are addicted to those drinks and the sugar and the nasty ingredients that are in all of those. And with a fitness plateau, with someone who is so into fitness, you guys are going to probably have customers like this if you haven't had any already. It's really, really frustrating for us because we are doing all the work in the gym, and not getting any benefit from it. Besides, yes, we are working out, we are moving our body, but we're not seeing any results. And that's literally the most frustrating thing in the world for someone who is so into fitness. So if you guys ever have someone like that and they are talking to you and you need advice, please reach out to me, or even Sabrina, because we know how it feels and we can give you, some tips on how to deal with that, because for us, it is just really frustrating. But one of my main things when it came to plexus that it helped me with, you guys, I was having, before I started these products, around like 8 migraines a month. It ranged anywhere from about 5 to 8. And migraines are on a whole different level than a headache. They literally just make you a zombie. Anytime I would have one, my whole day was shot. And sometimes even the next day, I would literally, like, the only thing I could physically do was lay in bed with like an ice pack over my eyes and forehead. I would literally like be squeezing, like taking my hands on each side of my head and squeezing extremely hard to like find relief from these migraines. They made me nauseous. I couldn't see, so I couldn't drive when I would have one. And it would literally just knock me down so hard. And I think my breaking point was when my husband and I went on a vacation. We were in Cabo and we were with some friends, and I had woke up the next day and it was not a hangover, it was a migraine. um I couldn't get out of bed. I lost 2.5 days of a 5-day vacation in Cabo with friends, laying in bed because I couldn't eat. I couldn't shower. If I got up, I would get sick. And it was just, that was like my breaking point. And even when I was having these migraines, I was taking like daily medication for these things. I was on a preventative tablet, and I was also on a monthly injection. And I am happy to say I started my triplex combo in June of 2022. And you guys, I kept my last injection. And this is from July 4th of 2022. The seals have not been opened. I keep this thing in my fridge as a reminder of what these products have done for me and how much they have truly like changed my life. And it's not just with my health, you guys, it's also given me a purpose. For 5 years, I didn't have a job. I was a dog mom, and everyone thought that was like, oh my God, that's the life. Like, you're living it up. But for someone who is a red personality and someone that really likes money, it was not, all that fun to me. So the fact that I can wake up, I have a purpose, I wake up really excited, I get to help people with their health and make money and contribute to my household. When I say my life has changed because of this, I 1000% mean it. And for those of you who outlive me, I just want to let you know I need a really good DJ at my funeral, and I need to be buried with the triplex combo. And that's all I have.
Thank you so much for sharing. I'm like cracking up over here. I think your story is so good to hear because people can assume, like, when you see somebody who's so passionate about fitness or working out, you just assume like, oh, they probably wouldn't want what I have, or they know everything or whatever. And it's just a good reminder that if you're not getting what you need for your gut and all that, and like everybody can benefit from nutritional support and all of that, you really don't know what people are going through or health things. So I love your story, and you're always cracking me up. Um, so I'm going to share with you guys, and I'm really excited to share with y'all about X Factor, because this product is near and dear to my heart. It was my very first Plexus product. I did not start with a combo. This was literally all I took. And I was pregnant with my son Noah, and this little vitamin right here is what made me take a look into Plexus and like, what else do they have? What is actually in these products? So when I was pregnant with Noah, and you go to your first appointment and they confirm your pregnancy around 8 weeks or something, I came home with like all these samples of prenatal vitamins, like maybe 4 or 5 little sample cards. And then I also had a list of some things that they would recommend. And I felt I was a first time mom, didn't know what to expect. I just knew I was so sick, throwing everything up, and that I really needed prenatals and like vitamins. I really needed to nourish my body and my growing baby, because I really couldn't get a lot of food in and stuff. And all of the things that they gave me, I looked into this later, but what I thought was very interesting, everything had folic acid, nothing had folate. I didn't even know what the difference was, that there was a difference at the time. But what I learned later, so folic acid is the synthetic man-made version, and folate is like the real true form. And that is very important for you when you're pregnant and you're growing a little human. It is especially important. But when I started taking X Factor, I was like, oh my gosh, I'm finally taking something that I'm not throwing up. And I couldn't take the full dose. I didn't take 2 when I started. I did work up to 2, but I was only able to take 1, but I could keep it down. And I was like, what is it about this supplement that I'm actually able to take this and I can keep it down? And I truly think it was because how clean it is. Everything's in its like real truest form. They fully methylate the whole thing, so you're able to absorb everything. And so from there, because it made such a difference for me, like, wow, I can finally take something. I'm not throwing it up. I started to see, wow, this has folate. Everything else, every single other prenatal that I had the sample or I had tried to buy and like take, everything else had folic acid. And so this was my first experience. Now this is X Factor Plus. So we had X Factor when I first got started. This is the X Factor Plus, which is, I guess when you think about the main thing like X Factor Plus, just think of X Factor Plus as like the supercharged version of X Factor. And I think it's really cool to just throw in that Plexus is always innovating. They're always improving. And as they get information, they learn new things, they always ensure that we're getting like the best quality and the best nutrients the best way possible. And so I do think that's really cool that nothing just stays the same. They're always evolving and adding to things as new information comes out. So I wanted to give you guys some just simple differences between X Factor and X Factor Plus. So X Factor Plus is a highly potent formula, and it has 19 nutrients compared to 10 nutrients with X Factor. So you have 19 in X Factor Plus, 10 in the regular X Factor. X Factor Plus also contains 650% more bioactive forms of key nutrients than X Factor. X Factor Plus has trace minerals. X Factor does not. X Factor Plus also has polyphenols for gut health benefits, and X Factor doesn't have those either. X Factor Plus and X Factor, they both have aloe, and they both have the New Zealand black currant, and that's going to help with like absorption. And it's also, the black currant is a natural form of iron, which I always thought was really cool. And then the X Factor Plus, I don't know if you can see through here, but it contains natural chlorophyll, which is why it has that green color on the capsule. So I have 10 little facts here that I'm going to give you guys about X Factor Plus, because I thought it would be better to just focus on the X Factor Plus. So the number one thing is that it has over 50 traced minerals, trace minerals. And these are called chelated. I try to figure out if that's how you pronounce it, but the minerals are chelated, which means that it can pass through the small intestine and it can get into your bloodstream. So again, it's so important how they come to really ensure that your body is able to absorb it. Um, the chelated means that it's bioavailable, which means the body can recognize it, it's able to use it. And something that's just about trace minerals. So generations and generations ago, this is something you would just get on a normal, like regular basis from the food that you eat. This would have been like local farms that you would get your produce from, or your grandpa's farm, stuff like that. But because of our soil being depleted, we are not getting the same amount of trace minerals that our body needs. And we have processed foods, we microwave our foods, we freeze our foods. So we're no longer getting what our body desperately needs. So I think it's pretty cool that they went and added in so many vital minerals that our body needs that we're not getting anymore from our nutrition, even if we're going to the store and buying like produce. So number 2 is that it has aloe. Now, both of them have aloe in it, but what's so cool about aloe, I mean, it's a healing, it's very healing, it's amazing, but they have a patented aloe blend, which is proven to increase absorption by 300 to 400%, which also increases absorption of your other Plexus products. So that's really important that they have aloe in there. Okay, number 3, and I had to, like years ago, I didn't even know what this meant. So it was like, wait, what does this even mean? So number 3 is that it is fully methylated. And I know Tova may know this, she knows everything, but I know back in like 2017 or 18, it was the only fully methylated vitamin in the whole world. Like not just out of whatever companies or anything, it was in the whole world. It was the only fully methylated vitamin. So simply put, methylation is the ability to process toxins and hormones. And 40% of the population has a gene mutation, and it's called MTHFR, if y'all have seen any posts about it. And basically what that means is the people that have this, you're unable to methylate ingredients like folic acid, certain B vitamins, and instead these are actually toxic to your body. So it's very important that you're getting the stuff that's in your vitamin is already methylated, so your body is able to absorb it, because 40%, and it may be up to 50, I don't know, I read 2 different things, so I went with like the least one just to cover my bases, but most of the population cannot methylate ingredients. And so it's really cool that they do that. Number 4 is that it has microbiome activating complex in it. So this activates good bacteria, and it also helps your body get rid of compounds that you don't want in your gut. It's going to help protect the good bacteria from being killed. And that's very important because 80% of our immune system is found in our gut. So it's really cool that they added this microbiome activating complex in it. Number 5, it has B12 that is fully methylated, which means it helps with energy. And a fun fact, you would have to eat 40 large bananas alone to get the same amount of B6 that they have in xfactor. So it has B6, B12 in it. And I used to work at the medical spa I used to work at. People used to come in and get shots like once a week. They would pay out of pocket and come get a shot for B12. So when you get this and you have energy, just know it's coming from your vitamin. And I thought that was cool. Number 6 is menopause support. This has clinical levels of grapeseed extract that's going to help with hot flashes, anxiety, night sweats, and a lot of other symptoms that you get in menopause. Number 7, it has vitamin D, K1, and K2. And why I wanted to mention this is because the combination of these 3 things together, it's going to help direct calcium into the skeleton. Because I guess when I started looking into it, calcium can actually just settle in other random parts of your body. So when you have vitamin D, K1, and K2 combined together, it helps to direct it into the skeleton. I thought that was a cool fact. Number 8 is vitamin E, which is powerful for cardiovascular support. Number 9, wanted to make sure I threw this in here because I thought it was fascinating since 2020. It has zinc and copper. Now, why this is even important to say is a lot of people started taking zinc in 2020. But what is very interesting is if you only take zinc, it actually depletes your copper. And copper is what is needed for collagen. So it could actually cause you to lose hair. So if you're taking just zinc, but you're not also taking copper, then you're going to have that imbalance. And so in X Factor Plus, it has both zinc and copper. And then number 10 is the New Zealand black currant, which I already mentioned. It does have that natural form of iron, but it's also a very powerful antioxidant. And then lastly, to just kind of wrap it up, it can be taken at any time of the day. It doesn't really matter, but it's best absorbed with food. And then also, if you guys have a sensitive stomach, you can separate. So you take 2 a day, but if you guys wanted to take like 1 at breakfast, 1 at lunch, or however you wanted to split them up, you don't have to take 2 at the exact same time. But it is best to go with food instead of an empty stomach. And then those are kind of the facts that I had about X Factor. And I'm going to pass it over to Christen.
Hey everybody, guys, that was so amazing. No wonder I feel so amazing on X Factor Plus. I didn't even know all of that. So thank you, Kylie. All right, ladies, there's no gents on here tonight. So just ladies, what I want to present to you tonight is retention duplication. However, in thinking long and hard about this call and what I wanted to offer you guys that I thought would be super valuable, I didn't want to give you just another system. I feel like there are plenty of amazing systems out there. Brittany Howard and Christina Williams gave us some amazing content at convention. They even gave us worksheets. Our personal team has great retention systems and worksheets. So I didn't want to throw another system at you. What I wanted to do, though, was just pour into you guys what I've learned over the last 2.5 years that will not aid in your attention duplication. So I'm kind of giving you the don'ts, okay? And every don't I'm going to give you is because I have, even if it was for one day and I learned the lesson hard, or a season where I was making these mistakes and I had to learn the hard lessons, each one of these that I'm going to take you through, I've personally been through. And I feel like John Maxwell says, the best way to teach is through the failure. So I'm hoping that this is valuable to you guys. And we're going to kick it off strong with number 1, don't be an ostrich. What is an ostrich? Ostriches stick their head in the sand. Guys, don't stick your head in the sand. You need to, knowledge is power, right? So you need to have your head up. You need to be aware. And one of the ways we're going to do that is to do the scary thing and look in your back office. Now, I know that there are some people, leaders, who say, don't worry about your back office until you're X rank. I completely disagree. I think that you have to be aware of your customer base, what they're doing, what they're ordering, when they joined, when they last ordered, what it was, did they come off course? This knowledge is power. So when these incentives come out and you're going back to touch them, you have a grasp on what they're doing. There's nothing more embarrassing than reaching out to someone like, hey, how are you loving your products? And they shut their sub off like 2 months ago. You need to be aware. It also gains trust with people that you are committing to what you said you were going to do, which is staying on the journey with them. If you don't even know when they ordered or what they're ordering, follow-up is really, really difficult. And I know that it stems from an emotional place where we just don't want to see it. We don't want to know. But trust me, it's much better to know and tackle and come up with a game plan than just, be aloof about it and dismiss it. With piggybacks, number 1 is number 2, which is no Hail Mary passes. For my football gals, a Hail Mary pass, by definition, is a long forward pass thrown down in desperation with a small chance of success. That's what happens when you're an ostrich and the 28th rolls around. You're hoping and praying for some Hail Mary win that people kept their subs on. Don't do that. I've done that. It's not a good place to be. It's going to make you stressed out. It's going to make you maybe miss the mark by really, really close. And why? There's no need for it to come down to the wire like that. And it's just going to take the joy out of it. And again, it filters back into that trust relationship which to me, you could have the best system in the world. If you're not building good trust and relationships with your people, it doesn't matter what system you're following. And by staying proactive, getting yourself in the back office. Now, guys, I don't care if you have 100 people back there or if you have one person or if you have no one. If you have no one and everyone turned off, that's okay. That's still all knowledge. You still want to get those names on a list because things roll around and seasons change, and you want to stay connected and keep up with those people. So no Hail Mary passes on the 28th, guys. No holding your breath, hoping you made it, hoping everyone kept it on, because you just, it feels better. It feels safer. We want to do the tougher thing. Like Christina and Brittany said, it was just so spot on that staying in the back office, realizing who's doing what is how you take control and make those essential changes. Number 3, don't assume. Okay, the best analogy I can come up with for this, you guys, is a restaurant. Say you and I go out to eat. You go to the bathroom. I know you so well that I place your order for you. You come back to the table and I'm like, yeah, don't worry. I ordered your salad and your whatever. And you're like, I didn't want that. What do you mean? I know you so well. That's what happens when we think we really, really know people. You don't. I promise you. I don't care how big the ring is, how great the car is, how many vacations, what their life looks like on social media. You simply don't know what's going on behind the scenes. You don't know what's going on in their personal life. And when you assume and don't ask them questions when you're retaining them, the duplication is never going to happen and you're talking for them, which is actually kind of rude. And I've had to come to the realization of this. It's rude. It's kind of like a server coming to the table and not showing you the specials because he thinks, oh, they can't afford them. Like, who does that? So don't assume what people need or what they want. Every retention system is going to walk your VIPs through the opportunity multiple times. Don't skip that step. Again, I know from experience, this comes from an emotional background because sometimes we're just so excited that that person signed up with us that we're like, I don't want to like ask them anything else. I don't want to like ask them to do anything else. I don't want to ask them to post. I don't want to like present the opportunity too early. It's like you're afraid. So that fear is causing you to assume something and like play out a narrative that's not true. So again, all from experience, y'all. Don't do it. Number 4, never stop being friends. Never stop being friends. Again, this business is built on the foundation of relationship and trust. If they become VIPs or business builders, and the only conversation you guys are ever having is Plexus, it's going to get weird. It's going to start getting weird. And if somebody decides they don't want to do it anymore, it gets even more estranged. Try really hard not to do that. These are still people. Check in with them like a person, okay? Because it's very easy to let Plexus override every single conversation, and then the friendship kind of gets a little blurry. I have actually had business builders who no longer work with me, but I'm still friends with them, and they're still really loyal customers, and they still order every single month. The business just wasn't for them. But you know what the benefit of staying friendly with somebody is? Not only do you get the value and the richness of being friends with them, but in the event the season or the tides change for them and they do want to jump in, it's not weird for anybody. They're welcome to come back and start again. Or even if you're having a promotion month, like you won't feel funny to reach out to them and be like, hey, I know you're still a loyal product user and you're not doing the business, but would you still mind to share from me? And just keeping those relationships going, you never know who they could still bring in the future. So always be friends. Don't miss out on the relationship part, regardless of where the business or the products take you. Number 5, the only time you overpromise is if you could overdeliver. And you guys, we can't. We can't. I have made this mistake. And these all tie into how you're going to retain and duplicate, because the way I teach my daughter to tie her shoe is how she's going to remember to do it and how she's going to teach her kid. So if everything I'm saying still ties into this concept. So overpromising is a trap. Okay. You can't. I am not going to be able to be there with my customers to make sure they're drinking the water, to make sure they're taking their supplements, to make sure they're not, doing things to jeopardize their progress, like too much drive-through or too much. I'm not there. So all I could do is stick to facts, stick to what corporate lays out for us that is just clinically. And when I am sharing my story or another testimony, just continually reiterating to them that it is possible if you ... if you consume, if you communicate, if you drink your water. Because if you don't, it's simply just a tool. Okay. The hair dryer only dries the hair if you turn it on and plug it in. Do you know what I'm saying? So these products are amazing. They work. We have the utmost belief, but over promising causes people to lack trust in you and then disbelief in the products. They will quit long before they were maybe supposed to. So when somebody comes to you and is like, I want to lose 20 pounds by the wedding, don't make the mistake of being like, absolutely, yeah, we're going to get that 20 pounds off and then some. No, because you don't really know what they're coming in with. You don't know how diligent they're going to be. You stick to, I believe that it's possible, but this is the road we're going to take. And everybody's body is different. And you walk them through, giving them still the hope and the belief, but keeping it realistic. Don't overpromise on things that we can't. Number 6, if you're going to talk the talk, you're going to have to walk the walk. And what I mean by that is we are the face of a wellness brand. We are the brand. We are, instead of the multi-millions going to, ads and shelf space, it's coming to us, and for a reason. So what I mean by this and how this is going to help your duplication and retention is being honest and loyal to the products. Why I put this in there wasn't from my personal experience, but I felt value in putting it because I did have a downline who would post, let's just say, for example, about the Active, how clean and amazing this energy drink was. But every time she was amongst friends and family, she had a Monster or Red Bull in her hand. That's a problem. And if it made me feel a little icky, I'm sure it made those friends and family feel like, wait a minute, you're sitting behind a screen telling me I should do this and I should take that. But then when you step out, you're not really matching a lot. You're not aligning with what you're telling me to do. So what I mean by this, guys, is take it for what I'm saying. If you're wearing a brand, if you are representing a company, be mindful of this. What you do in the privacy of your home is your business, but when you are out in public, people are always going to be watching you, and they're going to judge you for that. And it's either going to make them trust you that much more and want to jump on board, or it's going to make them feel sold to and lied to, and nobody wants to feel that way. Number 7 is a big one for me. Meagan, I think I'm talking to you too. Don't get frustrated. This is where emotional maturity comes in, you guys. And feeling frustrated will affect your retention and duplication because it bleeds out. Whatever you feel is going to come out. I don't care if it's a text message. I don't care if it's a voice note. If you're feeling frustrated with the process and frustrated with even maybe them specifically as a customer or a business builder, they're going to feel it too. It's like somebody walking into a room and suddenly the vibe completely changes. What I have learned best to do is not respond just yet. This is something I really, really had to learn because I'm a quick response. And sometimes it's just better to take a step back, to compose yourself before you send the message, reach out to your upline, ask them, give them the frustration, let them help you with some wording, or maybe they're going to point you in a whole different perspective. Sabrina has done this for me a ton of times where she just gives me a completely different spin on how I was feeling. And then I'm like, oh, I didn't even think of it that way. So it's definitely better to just not respond at all and think before sending any message or anything. We could probably all relate to this. You're doing all the things, you're checking all the boxes, and it's just either a ghost town or every suggestion you're taking, they're doing the complete opposite. We've been there, but this is not about us. This is about them. So the best thing you could do is just take a minute. Don't get frustrated. Wait to reach out to your upline and just understand that whatever they're choosing to do, you could only lead the horse to water. At the end of the day, this is their journey. You're just here to encourage and to guide them, not get frustrated because they're not following, you know, what you're saying and what you're doing. At the end of the day, it's their journey. All right. Number 8, and this is where I'm going to end. So actually I did pretty good with time, is resist the transaction. So Genevieve said it best at convention. She spoke to us during the Ruby breakout, and she said, you're not here for the sale. You're here for the journey. And why I kept this one to last is I probably have the most to say about it. When I first started my business, I'm not going to lie to you guys, I was a recruiting junkie. I was like I recruited my tail off my first year of my business, but it was much more about me needing to feel like a winner and less about what they really needed or wanted, because I was in a place in my life where this business came along where I was in a valley, like the lowest emotionally, financially, all the things. And I just needed the win. Like I just needed to feel like I was winning at something, like I was good at something, like I had something positive going on. But what ended up happening is that along the way, too much winning drowns out the learning. And it also crushes humility. And God is so good that he allowed me to win, 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 win. And then he was like, now you're going to learn. Now you're going to see it for what it's really going to be. Now you're really going to get humble. And now you're going to do the work. So that's exactly what happened. And I could not be more thankful for that, because I could never give you this call if I didn't go through that. I would just be like, yeah, this is just what you do because it's what I do and it's amazing. No, I'm going to tell you what not to do because I had to learn this. So making people just the transaction, that's all you're going to get. I was on a hamster wheel with this, you guys. Like I stayed at Senior Gold for 2 years. I went from 0 to Senior Gold in my first 4 months. So that's a rank a month. And then I stayed there for 2 years, but I actually stayed there. So that means I was literally on a wheel of recruiting, dropping. My retention was horrendous. Okay. And that's why I could speak to this, because I'm going to tell you that's not fun. It's not fun. Like the business is set up to be, you could just get 3 solid people to retain and grow with. You don't need hundreds and hundreds of people. And it really just changed my perspective and really brought me back to the basics of this more boutique service, where these are people with real problems and we have real solutions for them. So whether or not I hit, silver every month or get every incentive every month no longer matters for me as much as it matters what I'm doing in service for this person and how I'm going to change their life. And I'm going to, like I told you, it took a lot of work to get to this mindset that it's not about me, that it's about them. So how could we make it more about them, where then they're going to make it more about others, and we're going to have this amazing retaining, duplicating process going on. It's in the little things. It's in taking the time out of your schedule to hear their story. So the quick, yeah, shoot me over your information, I'm going to plug it in right now, new join. No, it feels good. It's like temporary. It's like a temporary, high, but that's not what this is. Every single person now, I tell them, when can you talk? If I have to wait a week, I wait a week. If I have to wait 3 days, I wait 3 days. Whatever it is, like whenever they're really going to be able to talk to me and tell me what's going on, that's when I make the time to talk to them. Little things like a welcome card, a welcome gift, whatever it is that's on your heart to do, it's something they won't forget. It's that little boutique service that makes them feel special and that they're valued. I literally picked up pouches from Hobby Lobby. They were $1.50. I stamped Plexus on it, and I've been with a little note. Thank you so much for trusting me on your wellness journey. It's Like, would you forget something like that? Like if somebody did that for you, or even when you go to a regular boutique, if they added a little sample, like you don't forget that. Like, oh, here, try this. Like, oh, that's so nice. Think of those little outside the box things, because at the end of the day, you are the CEO of your business. This is your business. Get creative. Everybody here loves people. Okay. Even if you're like a closeted, I love people kind of person, you must love people to an extent to be here and want to pursue a career with Plexus. So tap into those little parts of you that would say that would be really nice for me to do. And then take the time to do it. Meet them for coffee. Get on the phone with them. I'm telling you from experience, every customer I have that I have retained and grown with, I did that. The ones who were the quick, never even heard my voice, never heard their voice, answered that little questionnaire. I sent them a combo. They were like, yeah, cool. Here's my credit card. Gone. Gone. Now, not to never be seen or heard from again. We could always circle back. That's the beauty part of this business. Every day is a new, fresh start. If you're sitting here right now and you're like, oh man, I don't know, I've done like a lot of these things and I have a back office full of inactives, that's okay. You go back. You go back. You start building that relationship and trust with them again. You take the time for them again. You don't make them feel like a transaction. Because the worst thing we could do is work so hard to get people to buy the welcome pack and then drop them. That's not what we want to show people. That, like, then it does become icky. It does become all the things we start to make it like people think it is. And it's not. That's not what we're here for. So what I really hope is that you guys took at least one don't away. Keep it in your back of your head here and move forward. And you could always start over again. That's the beauty part here. And you have a full team to support you. And I will see you on Pink Power.